Are we live, Nick?
It looks like we're live.
We might be live. What else would you expect from the first live show for Game On Wisconsin? I know we lost Matt. You're coming back, though. Matt's coming back. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the first live show of Game On Wisconsin, Lombardi's bar. We're at an actual bar. We are at Stadium View. We are literally, I am looking right across the street, and I see historic Lambeau Field, and it's amazing. We are in the Sky Bar up here at Stadium View. Welcome in, everybody. I am your bartender, Dan Kotnick. I've got this guy right over here. You know Todd.
What up, what up?
Matt's coming back in. You can see him on the wide shot. He's over here having technical issues because we spent enough time trying to just find out what the Wi-Fi was, but now Matt's trying to figure out his computer. And Matt, you and I, we've done Pack a Day podcast here for almost about a year and a half now, right? And if one thing has been the benchmark for our time together, it's been technical issues. And I don't even know if actually anyone can even hear Matt.
Now I'm coming back in here. Okay, let me back in.
Nick, throw Matt back in here.
So I was going to have a dramatic, hey, I was getting around for everyone, but you saw my goofiness.
Hey, we got him.
I'm here.
He's back. Look at this.
So I know. But Dan's right. Dan's right. Honestly, if it wasn't, just as soon as we hit live, we had an issue. But we're back. Like Dan said, we're literally. I mean, I could throw this beer bottle maybe with Todd's help and hit Lambeau Field from here, but we got Todd in the building too. Brand new hat too, looking just fresh.
I was a quarterback in 03. I can hit that from here.
Quarter mile.
Yeah.
Over them there hills.
The Oneida Ancient Gate sign, I can hit it.
Well, welcome in, everybody. Oh, and yeah, now I'm finally getting the comments here. And yeah, everyone was just yelling at us that we were live. Yes, social distancing for the win. I want to say right off the top here, I think it's important to sort of do a show like this because while we are trying to social distance, and that's at the utmost importance, especially here in Wisconsin, we still have a ton of bars, especially local bars like this in college towns and NFL towns like this, that are struggling to survive in the middle of all of this. And so while we have to be smart and do all the things that you're supposed to be doing outside of the bar, you still got to come and support your bars, right? Take out to-go drinks, which might be the best thing that came out of the pandemic, is that bars are starting to do to-go drinks.
That was clutch. I'm going to tell you, in spring, my girlfriend and I, every Thursday, carrying out from all the local spots around town here, Pearly Gates, Hagemeister, Black Sheep. But the fact that you could carry out a six-pack, Dan, that's clutch. That was, it was, to be had. There's a lot of good food around the area.
Well, I mean, I'm in town with my fiance, and we are getting Stadium View food for dinner. So I've got an order that I got to place when we're done with all of this.
Wow. We've got a girlfriend drop. We've got a fiance drop. I'm in town solo, guys. I just got back from a cross-country road trip with my grandma. It was fantastic. So I just appreciate you guys rubbing that one in.
No doubt. And obviously, you got to get a hold of Todd if you're in the Green Bay area tonight. I mean, there's his Twitter handle right there at the Todd V. I mean, if you're
Todd's living the dream.
DMs are open.
Todd's living the dream here. Todd, tell the people what you've been doing, your living situation, what you've been doing, especially over the last week or so. If people don't know.
So it actually sounds a lot less glamorous now, Dan. I don't know if I've actually brought you up to speed. I just drove across the country to pack my stuff in Phoenix and move back to small town Wisconsin with my mother. So that's fantastic. I was planning on being a nomad for the winter, just rolling around the country in an RV. But I pumped the brakes on those, and we're just gonna spend the time slowing it down with mom for the winter.
But you've got this RV, right? That you're sort of living out of?
It's going into storage. It's gonna get damn cold. Like I said, I've been in Phoenix for 3 years. I don't do winter anymore.
But that's the point of the RV. You can go where the places are actually warm.
And it's here's the thing. It's a 1984. It's older than I am. I know how frequently my body breaks down, let alone an RV.
And that was the thing. Dan missed that in the post or the pre-production. He missed that it was a 1984. Like he built it up to me on Monday or Tuesday that it's like this new rig that Todd's driving around. It's an 84. Like you don't want to rely on.
Let me tell you, it's a sweet 1984, but it's 1985.
But it's a sweet car bed.
All right, let's get in here, guys. Since we're at the bar, and this is the first time that we are meeting face to face ever, and it's also the first time this season the Packers have a loss. And just like the losses last year, they were all gut-wrenchingly like Indiana Jones rip your heart out kind of losses. So since we're at the bar, why don't we go ahead and get our drink special for the night? Producer Nick, throw this up here for us real quick. Your drink specials for tonight here at Lombardi's Bar / Stadium View. Today, it's not a drink. It's a setup of 4 shots. It's called the Kick in the Ass, which is exactly what Aaron Rodgers said this team needed after that Tampa Bay game. So the Kick in the Ass, it's 1 shot of a little beer. You know what a little beer shot is? That is a bomb-ass shot. It's sweet, goes down smooth, really easy, but then you have to follow that up with 3 shots of the worst tequila possible to just shock you back into reality and give you the kick in the ass that we hope this team got after Tampa Bay. Because, guys, let's talk about this a little bit before we dive into our segments with Buy a Round, Pay the Tab. Buy the Round is going to be the hardest thing we've done so far this season. What the hell? I mean, what the hell was that on Sunday?
I mean, we were talking earlier. It was just ugly. It's one of those games. We talked about it on Pack-A-Day Dan on Monday, in the episode that came out. Like, it's just, you kind of just crumple it away, right? Crumple the game plan, throw it away, forget it, leave all your woes in Florida. You know, it's crazy that Rob Gronkowski had his best game of the year. It's insane to think that it was against the Packers, but as to be expected. And I really just think at this point you kind of just set it and forget it. Todd, is that what you're thinking, or do you put a lot of merit into this loss?
No, I don't want to talk about the game. I was actually enjoying us talking about anything besides the game. And I'm going to change the subject again, as we do have Matt here. Jimmy is not with us tonight, which I'm fine with. Honestly, I've been sick of that guy. He decided to be an asshole and choose his family over us. Something about an anniversary or whatever. So get comfortable in that chair.
Hey, man, I appreciate you guys having me. I mean, he's James to me from here on out. If he's a family man, he's not Jimmy anymore. He's James. Jimmy's like a kid that rides skateboards and like does like tryout videos for football games and for football in his backyard. That's Jimmy. James is a family man.
Dude, Mikowski goes down, Favre comes in, and the spot is never given back. And now Mikowski is
Jimmy has been replaced.
Only for live shows that are in the area with Stadium View. And Dan, honestly, since we've been recording podcasts for a year and a half, 2 years, calling me Brett Favre, biggest compliment you've ever given me.
Definitely. All right, guys, let's dive into this here. All right, let me ask you this question. Because it's a loss and it was so terrible, do we flip up the order and do we pay the tab first and then buy a round, or do we stick with the good news first? What do we think?
I think flip it, right? It's a live show. Like, we're in. Todd?
So since Jimmy wasn't even showing up, I opted to do absolutely no prep.
Todd did no prep work.
And I still did more than him.
Let's go. Let's pay the tab right now, Nick. Let's pay the tab. Let's start. Matt, why don't you start off first? You're our guest. Who's got to pay the tab for you?
Pay the tab for me. I mean, see, this is the toughest one. Dan talked about it all week, or we talked about it over texting this morning when you were getting here, and I'm like, I don't know who I'm going to put down, right? Pay the tab. I'm going Nathaniel Hackett and Matt LaFleur. And it's like, the reason I do a slash is because I don't know whose concept it was to not try to block Levante David, not try to block Devin White, try to see Corey Linsley chase guys down. Like, that was kind of cringy. And like those tosses, correct me if I'm wrong, we talked about this in pre-production. Not many jet sweeps. Todd thinks he heard one from maybe a random
zero.
broadcast.
I can't remember a single jet sweep.
Todd said he had some random broadcast he was picking up on his commute that they said jet sweep, but that I think plays with the quality of the radio broadcast.
So I'm going to take that as a segue to pay the tab.
Yeah.
Which is the Tampa Bay radio announcers. I was driving across the country, and the only feed I could get was the Tampa Bay radio feed, and those guys were awful. They referred to Rodgers as Brady at least half a dozen times. I never heard them say blitz once, which I did read Peter Bukowski's article this morning, which blitzing has been an issue. There was a time where it was just noises, no words. Reminded me a lot of when Jimmy talks, when he gets excited. It was just all around bad. But they did say jet sweep. So it probably didn't happen. What I'm understanding is that there was no jet sweep. They just said there was. Those guys were terrible. They need to pay their tab. And also appreciate who we have here.
That's
on the radio.
For sure.
Our guys are amazing.
Wayne Larrivee is one of the all-time best play-by-play announcers, and Rock is, he's Rock. He is the Rock of that broadcast. I love them both. I noticed here, Joel, a bunch of numbers after his name, asking about Tunyon. And so I'm not putting Tunyon on here, but I don't think that's very fair about Robert Tunyon. I don't think you can really put much of anything on these offensive skill players, because I don't think this game plan was designed to help anybody. Kind of like what you were saying, Matt, like the pay the tab should be Matt LaFleur and Nathaniel Hackett, because they didn't utilize what they had in front of them, So if Tanya doesn't show up on the stat sheet, I don't think you can blame him for it.
Totally agree. And we're also, let's not forget, we're coming off career games for Robert Tunyon. It's not like he's been a steady Eddie throughout the year, even his career. So it's like one off game from Tunyon. You can't blame it on him. But yeah, it was the script or the game plan that they had developed. It wasn't the best. And like I said, I don't know who's to blame, Matt LaFleur, Nathaniel Hackett. I do know that they're a collaborative effort when it comes to the offensive strategy, and it wasn't up to par. Put it that way.
Yeah. So my pay the tab, it's a little bit from this week, but I think it's more for moving forward, because I think the biggest thing coming out of this game is the injury to Bakhtiari. That's going to be what decides what happens with this team moving forward. And so I want to pay the tab Ricky Wagner. Ricky Wagner's got to pay the tab because he moved into that left tackle spot. I don't know if that's going to be permanent or if that's going to be what the decision is yet with that. I assume that's probably what you think would happen there. I guess we'll see what happens this Sunday. But regardless, Rick Wagner is going to have to fill in somewhere on this offensive line. It might be John Runyon that comes in and plays a little bit somewhere else. So let me explain that. I'll do Rick Wagner in the offensive line because you just lost your cornerstone in David Bakhtiari for who knows how long yet. Time to step up this week against a J.J. Watt-led pass rush and figure things out. Yeah?
I like Rick Wagner. I think that's a great one. Like, and to be honest, we talked about Packaday again, self-promotion. Like, the odds, even if Bakhtiari is healthy, like just that upper body, right? That leverage against J.J. Watt, That's a huge thing. I don't know what other injury you'd want an offensive lineman to have, because lower body's not good for leverage, upper body's not good either. Back's not good. It's really going to come to I hate the game time decisions.
Right.
It's awful. But it kind of seems what it comes down to. But that's what we paid Rick Wagner for, right? Let him hold it down on the left.
That's exactly right. How about we get a little happy here, guys? Let's buy around. What's something that was positive out of this last week? Really, outside of that first quarter, everything else sucked. So is there anything outside of the first quarter that was buy around worthy? Todd, I'll start with you.
I'm going to tell you exactly who it was. And again, it's the Lombardi's bar bump. It came last week. I called him out. J.K. Scott. Had a game. Just came out, kicked the shit out of the ball. Perfect. There's
very, very few and far between here. Matt, our podcast significant other, Janelle Mackey, in the comments, Mason Crosby. Big Mac down there is calling out Mason Crosby. That, yeah, really, he's the only person that scored twice. He kicked a field goal on the extra point. He's the only guy that was doing it.
I thought she would have made an excuse for Jordy Nelson somehow. She would have weaseled that in there. She usually does that. Mason Crosby was a good one. I'm going to go with Chris Barnes. Like, just he flashed for me a little bit. I know people have said Montrevious Adams, but really at the end of the day, the only person I saw making plays was your undrafted 22-year-old inside linebacker, which Mike Pettin doesn't really value inside linebackers. And you guys got Adrian Amos, Darnell Savage, Darius Smith, Preston Smith, Kenny Clark on the defense, and the one that outshined them all is a 22-year-old dude that's undrafted. Like, it's a scratch and a claw for that one. But, it happens. You just, I'll buy around just feeling. It's a Wednesday, right?
Yeah. So you said that Mike Pettin doesn't value inside linebackers. I'm currently, given the talent and what we've invested on the defensive side of the ball, what we've seen out of Pettin, I'm ready to see him go. It's been awful. What do you think he values on defense?
Prevent defense? The prevent?
I mean,
cover four?
Oh, jeez. I was trying to be nice. I was going to say, like, edge rushers are secondary, but yeah.
But he doesn't let them do his job.
Bend, don't break. That's it. He values that.
But here's the thing. Okay. I know that Todd wanted to go on his diatribe there. And Todd, you're more than willing to take this segment off the rails if that's what you want to do.
Let's get weird.
But I understand bend, don't break. But what the hell kind of defense says on 3rd and 2 with Tom Brady at quarterback, I want all of my cornerbacks 8 yards off the line of scrimmage with guys like Godwin and Evans and Gronkowski on the field? What the hell kind of defense is this? And I'm with you, Todd. If there was an opening right now where if you said you can pull the trigger right now, no questions asked, you'll get a different defensive coordinator in there, and there's the transition works, whatever. Would you do it? I would say yes, but I don't. That's the thing. I don't think you can do that right now.
Mid-season, you can't. I mean, it's not going to do a whole lot on there. Who are you going to win? I think Matt Froehlich said it yesterday pretty well that they need to look at what they've done. They need to start dictating to the opposing offense what they're going to do. Hopefully that means we're going to get aggressive on defense and start playing some ball. If not, I think the writing's on the wall is there for Mike Pettin.
Well, let me ask you this question, because I sort of had this thought come to me in the middle of like conversations of trying to break down what happened Sunday. If moving forward with the premise that Mike Pettin doesn't value the inside linebacker position, right? And so that's why they don't draft one in the first round, like Patrick Queen sitting there in the first round, just waiting to wear green and gold.
Shout out Jordan Love.
But if Mike Pettin isn't the defensive coordinator going into that draft, and you've got somebody with a different defensive mindset, and we've already seen this front office is willing to make free agent moves, draft moves to fit the style of offense and the style of team that they want to set up. If you have a different defensive coordinator in there that values the inside linebacker position or just has a different defensive philosophy, do you think that changes what happens in the draft and they draft Patrick Queen instead of Jordan Love?
I don't think so. Just based on the fact that they had already had Kirksey in as a free agent. Just the way that the league is going right now, very rarely does a team have two middle linebackers on the field. So there's not a use to have a high-priced free agent as well as throwing in a first-round pick as well. Because how much is that first-round pick really going to play the first couple of years? Ideally. So I don't know that that changes much there, but it could, but I don't see that.
But see, this is what I'm kind of thinking is a retort for that. They did that. They brought in the Smith brothers, and then they draft Rashawn Gary in the first round. You know, you can only play 2 edge rushers, and so you have a guy like that. I just think if that's a different, and I'm not trying to say this as a way to dismiss the Jordan Love pick, because I am still on board with the thought process that went behind it and everything else. But if this is a different defensive system, I just think things play out a little bit differently in that first round, or at least I'd like to think that they do.
I completely agree with you, Dan. And like, let's set aside Jordan Love, right? Like, that's fine. Maybe you saw value there, but then it took you until what? To draft Kamal Martin, to actually draft a defensive player. You go AJ Dillon, you go Josiah DeGuara. Like, so I would totally agree with Todd, but like, if they actually valued the defense or thought they needed players, they would have drafted them. When Dan brought this up earlier in the week and I heard the Patrick Queen again, I was just pissed because I'm like, I would have loved to see Patrick Queen in green and gold. It would have been fantastic next to Christian Kirksey or whoever. Like, maybe we'll see Kamal Martin at some point too come back, but at this point, you have to second guess Mike Pettin a little bit, especially when you're seeing those screenshots of the 3rd and 2 that Dan's referencing. Like, Tom Brady's one of the best check down quarterbacks of all time, right? Like, he's turned Ronald Jones into a receiving back. He's still got LaShawn McCoy, even though he's old as hell, but questionable. Just put it that way. Tampa Bay. Maybe the Heat got him. Who knows?
Yeah, that's true. My buy around, I am actually going to go Montravius Adams. Because, like you said, we're really scratching to try and find positives. And I sort of wanted to go, I know it's going to sound blasphemous, I almost wanted to go Josh Jackson because he had a few breakout moments, and I understand he did not play a great game overall. I get that. And had a couple plays that ended up killing them. And, well, you could just say they were regular Josh Jackson step plays. So that's why I didn't go with him. But Montravius Adams, on a defensive line that they brought back, Kenny Clark, he outshined Kenny Clark overall. You know, I think you could still see the impact of Kenny Clark, at least early on when things weren't getting super out of hand. But man, I think you do have to give credit where credit's due. And Montravius Adams had a game. I don't know. That's
the other one I would have picked. Like I said, that's the only other guy I would have decided to pick on. Josh Jackson seems like a reach. Granted, he did do pretty well against Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. So
he's a 4th cornerback. I mean, what do you expect out of a number 4 cornerback?
right.
And also, if Montravius keeps playing like that, that's because of Montravius. Because of Devontae, because of Montravius.
Sometimes, Todd, like I understand throwing the show off the rails, but sometimes when you bring this in here, Todd, it's when it gets tough.
I would say mix the water, but here it is. I don't know what to do.
Here's a good question before we move on to matchups that Corey threw in here into the chat. And I will, don't worry, I will pick this up from you. I'll pick this up off the floor after I drop this. But when I was on 1420 AM in Louisiana this past week with Greg Larnard, our boy Greg, he asked me the same question. When was the last time Green Bay had a top inside linebacker? My thought went straight to 2010 with Nick Barnett / AJ Hawk. That's who I think is the last great inside linebacker for the Green Bay Packers. What do you guys think?
I think it is too, and it seems you could go further back, like Niall Diggs. I'm thinking even, but that's way too far back. And at that point, you might as well just stop at Nick Barnett and the combination of AJ Hawk. And I think you're right. It's just kind of limp noodle answer though. I'm not overly excited to give you that answer, but like I can't think of anyone else that's been more dynamic.
Todd?
My first thought when you were bringing it up and I was running through my head, I was Brian Williams. So, mid 90s. That's
Right.
But you're right. Nick Barnett was quality.
I mean, Nick Barnett almost has like the linebacker equivalent to Jermichael Finley, because if he doesn't get hurt in that 2010 season, there's a good chance that he sticks around for another. I mean, he plays at that level for another 3 or 4 years. We're talking about him as one of the better inside line, not the best, but he's one of the better. This question becomes a lot less murky if he doesn't get that injury in 2010. That's for sure. Let's go to this week. Let's look ahead to Houston now. That's what the team is doing. That's what we're doing. Matchup that we are most excited about this week coming up against the Houston Texans. Matt, why don't you go ahead and kick us off?
I mean, you already hit on it, Dan. Rick Wagner, if he's in there, or David Bakhtiari, if he's playing, under than 100%, which I think we all can agree he won't be playing 100%. It's going to be that matchup versus J.J. Watt. Maybe he goes rushes off the right side, but I imagine that could be the sticky point, because I imagine you're going to get back to the regular offense, jet sweeps that are actually jet sweeps according to Tampa Bay broadcast. So, I mean, without a good offensive lineman on the left side, I mean, that's going to be huge to get Aaron Jones, hopefully Tyler Ervin involved. He didn't practice today, unfortunately. So that helps Aaron Rodgers too. So I think that's their biggest playmaker on defense when healthy. He is healthy right now in J.J. Watt. So I gotta go with that left side of the offensive line, whether it be David Bakhtiari or Rick Wagner v. J.J. Watt.
Todd?
I'm looking forward to see our secondary go against the group that they have there. Sounds like Kevin King might be a go. He's practicing again, correct? So, I mean, just Brandon Cooks, Will Fuller, Stills, Randall Cobb. Always fun to see Randall Cobb play. It'll be interesting to see how our secondary works against that group of receivers.
I'm going to go defense as well with Todd. The middle linebacker, I'll say the linebackers. How about just the front seven for the Green Bay Packers against Deshaun Watson? Because I don't know, when did the running mobile quarterback come into style? Was it Colin Kaepernick? Is that what we're going to say? I know Warren Moon could run. I know Fran Tarkenton could run. I know Steve Young could run. But I know, Nick, you either come on the stream and you say that, or you don't pot shot me with Mike Vick over there, okay?
Shout out to Nick for holding it down as the producer. Come on.
But you know what, Nick, that's a great shot, because you could go back and say that Mike Vick game, playoffs in Lambeau Field, where he runs all over the place. Since that moment, the Packers have never been able to handle, or have had a lot of trouble handling, super mobile quarterbacks, guys that can run around a lot. That front seven, linebackers playing spy, getting the defensive line to actually get some bleeping pressure by themselves, that's going to be huge this week. And wrap up, because, Jesus, how many times have we seen Deshaun Watson like in the grasp, and then you like blink and he's running down the field for 20 yards. The guy's a magician, dude.
He is. He just doesn't give up too. I mean, they're 1-5, but he's going to play like they're 6-0, trying to get a playoff berth right now against the Titans. Like he's one of those guys that, for better or for worse, he's going to scramble and break tackles, and he's given a lot of opportunities to do so with that suspect offensive line for the Texans too. So it's really just I don't want to say it's a make or break game for the Packers, but they definitely have to bounce back from a bad performance. And really, the Texans have nothing to lose. I mean, Romeo Crennel is trying to get a W. Like he's so old. He's the oldest coach in the league right now, apparently.
Yeah.
Like, they're bypassing him to be the head coach in 2021, which is just maybe he should be the GM. Who knows? But yeah, I think shout out. Yeah, let's call out the front seven, see what they can do. Hopefully get after Deshaun Watson. Maybe Preston Smith will get a sack. Kenny Clark hopefully a little bit more healthy. But without a solid front seven performance, I imagine Deshaun Watson and the receivers that Todd called out, they're going to have a big game.
And Nate in the comments here brings up a couple more. I'm not looking at the quarterbacks like, I don't want to look at like quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers, who are passers first and are also semi-mobile. But like Deshaun Watson, he is a great quarterback. He's a quarterback first. He's not, one of these guys that's sort of a Cam Newton kind where he's running a lot of the option and stuff like that. Lamar Jackson. I don't like to insult Lamar Jackson. Like he gets a lot of shit for that.
He does. But
I love him. But that's my point. Is like I'm not looking so much like as guys like that we think more for running, or like Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's a much better example, I think. A really good passer, but can kill you right away with your feet. That's who I'm more looking at. Guys like Donovan McNabb and Dante Culpepper. I don't really fit them into this same sort of mold. Although the Packers did have a lot of trouble trying to stop them as well. Before we move on, since we hit the halfway point, we want to talk about our DraftKings weekly contest that we started last week. Free contest each week, daily fantasy. Come join us. We'll be tweeting the link out here after the show. Make sure that you're following us on Twitter at Game On Wisconsin. But a shout out here to JVO. I assume that's J Vlope or something like that. J Vlope 80. He was our winner with I think I'm trying to remember how many points he has there. I thought I had it screenshotted, but I think it was like 180. And Todd, I think, came in. I'm pretty sure you came in second, Todd, in the league this year. Well, everyone took an L except Joe.
It was telling me I couldn't get on because I was in Arizona.
You were in the you had a thing in the contest. Did he just taco us?
I don't know. There might be. Maybe there's.
Hold on.
Password is Todd.
Let me check.
He did say he's living with his mom. Maybe his mom filled it out for him.
That's true.
She could have. Rhonda's a fucking saint.
Todd, I swear to God, I saw your name second on that list. All I know is I finished last. I finished dead bleeping last in that thing. But we're doing it again next week, everybody. So make sure that you're following us at Game On Wisconsin. We're going to tweet out the link to join the league so that you see the notification each week when the contest becomes up. And, like I said, it's completely free to play.
I haven't played any fantasy or daily fantasy this year. I lost my survivor pool. I'm 2-4 in my fantasy league. I'm going to have to get on the Game On Wisconsin. Like, is there a prize, or is it just bragging rights over Todd?
Bragging rights over me, Todd, Jimmy.
That's enough for James.
That's
enough for me. I'm going to have to get in on that.
I might throw a pair of my shades out to somebody. We don't know.
Cold shades?
He's got he's got a whole slew of them. But yeah, come join us, everybody. It's something fun that we want to do each week, and if you win, just like that, right away, you're gonna get a shout out on Game On Wisconsin and Lombardi's Bar. Let's get to one of my favorite parts of the week every single week, and that is taking a look at our drunk tweet of the week. And I want to say this: we're here at Stadium View doing our live show, right? We just did a free bump essentially for DraftKings. If someone's out there that wants to sponsor Drunk Tweet of the Week, I am here for it. Like, let's pimp this out, dude. I wanna sell out so hard.
The best sponsor would be like the Wisconsin Tavern League with like the DD spot. Like that would be super solid. Outside of that, I can see Newsies over there. D2 down the road.
I'm calling out to the interwebs. If you know anyone with money, I am the easiest.
They don't even need money, honestly.
What'd you say?
They don't even need to have money.
I give you just some kind of free thing. Like, dude, look at me. I am the person that can be bought off with like a free cheeseburger, for God's sake. Like, if you throw that at me, you can sponsor Drunk Tweet of the Week. But this is my favorite segment, so someone needs to take care of it. Nick, let's throw the Drunk Tweet of the Week up here for this week. Rob, this is the first time I've seen him, or at least he's kind of come across my feed.
From like Chippewa Falls or Eau Claire, and I think he's like a correspondent for like Forbes, and so that's the insight I did before the show.
Well, all I've heard about this is that he's blocked he's blocked everybody that matters.
Shout out, Tom. What's up? Hey guys. I took second place this week in the DraftKings.
God, of course you did. That's what I said.
7 points.
We're at the Drunk Tweet of the Week. Todd. This article by Rob If anyone needed a reminder why the Packers drafted Jordan Love, it came Sunday. Story about Rodgers' latest stinker in a big game is now at Forbes.
Hang on. I got. First of all, he's not Rob. He's definitely like Robert or Bobby at this point. Went out of the way to hashtag the Packers, but what grown man says the word stinker? Like, come on. When I saw
Not in this context.
when I saw this, I was coming home from my haircut and I was checking Twitter at the stoplight. I'm like, I heard there was banter about Rodgers, Love stuff, and like I finally saw it. And I'm done. Like I'm good for Twitter on the rest of the evening. Like Robert needs to stick to his 9 to 5, or maybe just. I mean, it's just such a grab. Why you get a headline?
You're about to get blocked.
That's fine. I've been blocked by worse and better.
And here, go ahead, Todd.
I just wish that there was a way that you could see why someone blocked you.
Right, you should have to write an explanation.
Yeah, you should get it notice. Like, hey, because of this, I'm sure I deserve to be blocked. It is what it is. But I didn't know why.
Because any reasonable person like Todd, Dan, or I, or Nick would just be like, you know what, I was out of line. That was a very late evening GIF I used. It was very inappropriate.
Habitual line stepper.
Yeah, you accept that. You're like just all of a sudden you're on someone's page and you're trying to maybe chirp them about their shitty article, and you can even do it. Like it's not the best.
And here's the thing that sucks. And maybe I'm calling myself out here a little bit with this. I didn't read the article because Nick, people can hear. We're in an echo chamber. They can hear you. So just come on the stream and say that.
Yeah, just turn your mic on, dude.
He's right though. Like
he's right.
In 2020. First of all, let's just round up at this point. It's 2021.
Yeah.
No one actually reads the article. Even if you click the article, I'm reading the first paragraph and then I'm skimming the rest of it, and then like looking for pictures, maybe some embedded Instagram stuff. Yes, we're lazy, man.
But here's the thing. I want to see what his terrible take is because of like Schadenfreude or because I hate myself. I don't know. But that does exactly that plays right into what he wants. He wants to be able to click on this crap article and get the ad revenue for it. I need a system. We need to create like a legion of Packer Twitter they'll be the one that gives him the one click and you screenshot the whole thing and then I can read it away from it and not give them the benefit of satisfaction.
Like an enormous email chain that just sends out to everyone with just the screen grab and that's it.
Or basically like Twitter LimeWire, where I can go illegally download his story off of somebody's Twitter feed.
Now you're pulling up the heartstrings with P2P and LimeWire. That's good stuff.
That reminds me, quick plug. We're going to throw up the newsletter link on the Twitters and the Facebooks after the show. Make sure you sign up for that, and we'll get a new newsletter sent out this week. What?
Nick, you can't have a conversation over there with us.
No, I was just going to say, actually go read the newsletter.
Actually read the newsletter. Don't skim the newsletter.
Right.
He's right.
He's right. So go actually read this.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Voice of reason.
Thanks for stopping in, Nick. And the best part about Nick stopping in is that he came in and Mike Wazowski'd himself and put himself right behind the logo so you can't even see him.
Yeah, that's the whole thing with the producer. I'm not supposed to be seen. That was. I would like to say that was planned, but it was not.
Here's something that since this is a sort of a secondary drunk tweet, and it goes back to I saw somebody back here talking about wide receivers, like bringing in, because Jesus H, every time after a loss or every time the offense looks bad, it's about here's the trade that would shake up the NFL. The Packers go for AJ Green, or they go for John. Or someone was bringing up John Ross, and someone came at me, and this I felt, guys, I felt vindicated. I felt validated because for the first time, I had somebody that I had a Twitter conversation with a couple weeks ago come back into that mention and rehash it to like try and call me out. That's the first time that's ever happened. It made me feel like a real Twitter star, which is really pathetic to think about. But coming about how, do you still think the Packers need a wide receiver to make this work? No. Would AJ Green have changed that game, Matt?
God, no.
No.
Like, he's like,
Let me ask you this. Did our offense look better when Devontae was out and Tyler Ervin was in, or Ervin was out and Devontae was in? Because maybe we should just trade Devontae. Sorry, that was a bad take from producer Nick, and I told him I'd run with it, but I don't know if I can stand with it. But it makes sense. It did not look like our offense missing Tyler Ervin.
You're right. But you're right. You're right for the wrong reasons.
yeah. You're right, but it still pisses me off. Like, that's it. Like, to think that Tyler Ervin, who has the wrong jersey number as a receiver,
I'm going to step out of the way. I'm going to let
a quarterback number at Devontae. It's just the concept that was wrong. And then, like, you could be right this next week if Tyler Ervin's out again, but I imagine he's back in the. Damn it, Todd, pissing me off. We need another round.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do. Welcome to the show, Matt.
It doesn't matter who you have on that field. If you don't execute the scheme correctly, you're going to look like you did on Sunday. That's the bottom line. Because this offense works better with Davante Adams in it. But if you don't execute it correctly, it's going to look like it did on Sunday. And so it doesn't matter if you've got, Jerry Rice in there. It's not going to fly. Here's a good transition. Yeah. Cuz Janelle's throwing us basically some beer bets here. So we're going to transition into our beer bets now. But let's get Janelle.
We just sent Janelle the link and get her on here too.
Yeah, seriously. Nick, slide into Janelle's GMs. I swear I have only had – this is only my second beer.
I saw it. I've had more.
That's 6.
God. Get Janelle on the show, Nick, before the end. Get her on.
That would be hilarious.
So odds that Randall Cobb throws a touchdown this Sunday.
We talked about him back today. Again, this is like the 6th time I brought it up. He did throw a pass last week, believe it or not, against the Titans, which he's a lefty. I don't know if you believe it. So odds? It's like the game the kids play where it's like, what are the odds? And you have to actually do it. I'm going to say 1 in 10,000. 1 to 10,000 would be the odds. Yeah, there's no possible way.
No.
It would be like a Romeo Cornell, like, hey, remember what you used to have? Like, you're going back to the future and just jabbing it? Like, that'd be the only way.
Like, I think that only happens if the game is completely out of hand, one way or the other, But it's something to think about is because, he threw a pass in that game, right? Is that what he didn't throw a touchdown pass, but he threw
incomplete, believe it or not.
Right. Yeah, who would have thought that the wide receiver couldn't throw the pass correctly? But yeah, Todd, there's no chance of this, right? This is more just a little jab about Randall Cobb being back, right?
Well, the question is, what's the odds? I said 1 in 10,000.
So you're saying there's a chance?
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Let the record show we've had a Dumb and Dumber quote just recently, and we also had a Grandma's Boy quote to start the show off. So I'm open for anything else.
Yeah, it's 1 in 100,000. It's not, that might even be too high.
Yeah. But if they want to do it next week, I'm all for watching Randall Cobb throw a touchdown pass. That's for sure. All right, let's get to our beer bets here, guys. Against the Houston Texans. First one that I want to throw at you, something that we brought up before. J.J. Watt, obviously, going against an offensive line that's been a little banged up. Been a bit of a musical chairs kind of situation. So J.J. Watt, 2 or more sacks on Sunday. Yes or no? And how? And Matt, I'm not sure are you familiar with our beer bets segment?
I imagine there's beer and there's a wager involved, but you can give me the fine print.
So you need to give us your answer to the question, and then you wager how confident you are in your answer with the 1 to 5 Bakhtiari scale. So 1 Bakhtiari, you're not feeling very confident. 5 Bakhtiaris, the Todd wager every single week. You're super confident. It's for sure.
I'm pissed as a betting man that you gave it an even number. I was hoping for a half so I could leverage that. 2's tough. I'm going to say it's under 2, not very confident. Therefore, I would go 2 beers. 2
Go 2 Bakhtiaris? You're going 2 Bakhtiaris.
That's what I'm running with. Not very confident, though, but that's under 2 sacks, 2 Bakhtiari, big slugs, 16 ounces.
Okay. All right. And why do you think – I mean, you think just J.J. Watt
I just think J.J. Watt's like he's not as – let's be honest, he's not as ferocious as he once was. I mean, the name's a little bit more impactful than the actual play on the field, and that can be because of scheme. That can be because of Jadeveon Clowney gone. That can be health. That can be a combination of things. I guess I'm going off the premise that the Packers will figure it out. Aaron Rodgers will be able to ball out of his hand quick. And I'm also leaning towards that David Bakhtiari will play. We don't have to rely on Wick Wagner. That would be a combination of reasons. So mostly because J.J. Watt, I feel like, is more of a name at this point. I could be wrong.
All right.
Prove me wrong.
Todd, I know you're going to go 5 Bakhtiaris, but what's your decision?
I haven't decided yet. I think I'm gonna go over. He's gonna have 2 or more.
Okay.
Assuming Bakhtiari doesn't play. So as quiet as they've been about it this week, I just feel like something's off on that. I don't think he's gonna play. And I think if that's the case, JJ's gonna get home a couple of times.
Yeah, I will agree with both of you guys. Or no, you went under. I'm going with Todd. Me and Todd. I will go over. I think he at least gets 2. I just think even if Bakhtiari is there, I think they line him up the other side. I think there's just there. I just think he does it. I think there is some validity what you're saying, Matt. He is a bit more of a name now than talent. But yeah, I still think he gets. I still think he gets more than 2.
He's still JJ Watt.
Right. I'll go 3 Bakhtiaris on that. I always go a little bit more conservative. Before we go to the other ones, let me ask you this question. At the end of the day, once everyone's retired and the sun has engulfed the earth, is TJ Watt a better player than JJ Watt? His career, as a career, does TJ Watt have a better overall career than JJ Watt?
Every year so far. Stays healthy, yeah. I would say yes, and that's off the 2 reasons. One, he hasn't had injuries that's kept him out for a long time, like JJ. He's also playing on the Steelers defense, which is right now, before the sun has engulfed us, is the best defense in the league right now. There's playmakers across the entire field. I was watching the game on Sunday. I'm just like, dude, they have guys everywhere. I mean, it sucks that they lost Devin Bush the knee injury, but outside of that, I mean, they got guys that just fly around the ball in the secondary defensive lines. I'm going to say, yeah, why not?
All right. Todd, what do you think? TJ Watt end up better than JJ Watt?
Yeah, I think so. Again, I think, especially being in Wisconsin, the name JJ Watt's just polarized us. And he's been great when he's been healthy, but injuries have just throttled that guy. And as long as TJ stays healthy, I think he definitely has a better career.
But see, TJ Watt's been polarizing too, because everyone points to him and says, "Oh, well, there's TJ Watt doing this, and Kevin King's out again. We could have had TJ Watt out here." I don't know. I hate revisionist history like that when it comes to draft.
But embrace debate. TJ Watt's name is more polarizing, not only because of Kevin King, but because of he's JJ Watt's brother and Derek Watt's brother, who people forget.
I'm not following this anymore.
I'm going to finish it with this.
Derek Watt, thanks.
More fullback. Janelle knows.
I'm going to finish it with this. All of the Watts are terrible on camera. They have that god-awful tag show on Fox, and then their Subway commercials suck. I like Subway, though. Subway, come to us.
Drunk tweet sponsor.
Yeah. Toasted. Only toasted.
I think I have eaten Subway drunk more than I have sober. And that's just because there was. I think that's just because there was a. I think that's because there was a Subway next to my house that was in between me and the bar in my house when I was in college.
Yeah, we've called you out on this.
Yeah.
Moving on.
No, the Subway commercials are terrible, Aaron. The Subway commercials are awful. That's because the Watt brothers are. Maybe it's because they tainted me with their show, but their show is the worst. I don't know if you guys watched it.
I honestly didn't know they had a show until 45 seconds ago when you said it.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Go home tonight or sometime this weekend. At least watch one episode. It's called Ultimate Tag It was on Fox.
That's a terrible name. They should have played into the Watt name somehow. Like,
High wattage.
Trust me, it's cheesy enough as it is. The show is cheesy as shit. Janelle, who gets drunk and craves a sub? I do. The bread's it's almost 90% bread. It soaks up all the alcohol.
I get drunk and crave any food. It doesn't matter. Like, it's especially if you can toast it. Cheese, like,
right. And if things go a little too far, it tastes the same coming back up as it did going down.
That's at that point doesn't matter.
That's the sherbet trick. That's the sherbet. Nice and cold coming back. Tastes like a lot of sherbet.
Our next beer bet. Let's get the next one up here. Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams. Do they combine for 2 or more rushing touchdowns against the Texans? Because the Texans do not have a good rushing defense. Basically, sort of, it's like almost on par with us.
I think it's like 31st or 32nd in the league. It's like bottom 5.
I think if I'm basing this off of
look at the producer, 31.
31, nice. So yeah, I mean they're terrible. So does Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams combine for 2 rushing touchdowns this week? Todd, I'll start with you.
5 Bakhtiaris, yes.
Rushing touchdowns.
5 Bakhtiaris, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, just like you said, their rushing defense is garbage. Our offense needs to get back to doing what it does. Let's run the ball a little bit. Let's go for it.
Matt?
All right, I'm going to put myself on blast right now. So no one really knows this year. I'm going on vacation this weekend. I'm going to Punta Cana. So not only am I going to play into some good content, once they go over, well, if they don't go over, I think they go 2+. If they go under, you got a good 5 Bakhtiari Twitter video coming out on Sunday at some point. I promise you that. If they go under, you're gonna see it.
What is this? Are you
just gonna? I'm gonna chug 5 Bakhtiaris, like just.
Oh, you're gonna step up and actually, because we've always treated these as hypothetical. Like this is like Bitcoin, basically. Like this is.
No, we don't, Dan. We drink these every week.
Yeah, Jimmy told me the other day that you guys do this all the time, so I'm going off of that. No, I'm for sure they're going over. 2 or over, like it's a guarantee. Like I've said from the beginning of the show, they have to get back to running the ball. And if you don't do that against producer guy, 31st worst run defense, like what are you actually exploiting? It's a win-win for me either way, because I imagine 2+ rushing touchdowns, the Packers win, and I'm in.
Is this an all-inclusive resort?
Dan, come on. Of course. Why would it not be?
Only fools go and don't do all-inclusive, right? Like that's.
I'm too much of a glutton to not go to all-inclusive. They lose money on me. Buffets, all-inclusive resorts. I don't know if there's another example.
Real quick. How pretty does Lambeau look right now?
It's pretty nice. Hey, you can see the American flag. You can see the lights.
The big chain lit up.
I'll tell you what, guys. I got emotional driving in here because this is the first time I didn't think I was going to be able to get to see Green Bay this year, because it's usually my opening day trip. Obviously, it didn't happen this year, so this is my trip to Green Bay, and I did not think this was gonna happen this year. But thank God Aaron Jones came out with a brand of cereal and forced me to drive. I have 12 boxes of Aaron Jones cereal sitting in my car right now.
If you need a shoulder to socially distance cry on, mine's here for you.
You're right.
That'll cost me 0 Bakhtiaris.
I am going to go and say they go under 2 rushing yards because I think that this offense gets back to its ways. And just because and it's not just like they're not going to run the ball or they're not going to do well running the ball. It's more like I feel like this is going to be a fantasy nightmare for people because so many people are going to get involved in this offense that it's going to be like 1 rushing touchdown, maybe a receiving touchdown here, or wide receiver Tunyon has a big game or something like that. I think it's going to get spread out. I think they're going to make this work. And so I'll say that they do not combine for 2 rushing touchdowns. And I'll actually go 4 Bakhtiaris on that.
You're going to match my actually drinking 4
I will
Bakhtiaris?
not.
I know you would.
I will not.
I had to try. I had to ask.
I will not. No.
All right. Fair enough.
That was a good pull. Good try.
But I do like what you guys are saying, like with the strategy, like with the offensive line, the way that it is, that is a smart strategy. Set them up there and just kick the guy's ass in front of you and run the ball down the throat all day, with a banged up offensive line like the way it is. Let's get our last one in here, and I'm going to go, Todd, your boy, J.K. Scott. Does he have 3 or more punts this week? Because I think if I heard correctly in the broadcast, I thought they said that he's only punted once per game or something like that, or it's been like twice per game. So Nick is furiously typing to fact check.
I can see that being honestly 1 a game. I could see a bit. That seems so minimal. That means you'd almost have to have a game where he had like 0.
I think there has been. I think there has been.
It's on average.
It's average 1 punt. What's that? Right. I don't think they punt against the Vikings.
That's right.
I think it's close, but yeah, why is Janelle not in this show right now? He had 7 total punts coming into the game on Sunday, so a little bit more than 1. But
that's
about an average of 2 or more, so I'll go 3. 3 or more punts for J.K. Scott.
And Janelle's got to stop this because she made me look bad over here.
Yes, she is.
Finding all this information at my webpage.
James has already lost his spot this week, Nick. Now you are petting and you're on the hot seat.
Always have been.
Work better under pressure.
But 5 Bakhtiaris, less. The guy's going to take the week off. He did great. He did a job. Take a week off, JK. We'll find someone else to punt if we need to. It's not that hard.
Matt?
What's the number 3?
Yeah.
I'll go under. Not overly confident. I'm going 1 Bakhtiari. That's soft. Todd's pissed at me right now because I'm just weak with my 1 Bakhtiari. But yeah, I'm going to go under.
All right.
Rationale? I don't have one.
No. I will go under as well, and I'm going to join Todd. I'm gonna hang out with him in the 5 Bakhtiari club for this one because, like I said, I think this offense gets back to its working ways. I think it happens, and I think that they, at the very least, they're not punting 3 times in the game. I don't think so. So guys, that kind of wraps up our show here, our first live show at Stadium View. We want to say thank you so much again to Stadium View for letting us come up here and do this. I mean, they're playing like Singo or something like that down there. They're actually trying to run a business. What's that?
It sounded like a vibe down there.
Oh yeah, it was
It was a super vibe. I mean, it was rowdy. 6:30, there was like bouncing. That was real.
Nothing brought me back more to reality than seeing like a bouncer try to get a fight broken up
On a Wednesday.
On a Wednesday.
Let's relax.
I love this goddamn city. I love this city. But yeah, I mean, thank you again, Stadium View, for letting us come out and do this. This has been an absolute joy. As someone that comes in from out of town for games like this, Stadium View is like an anchor point for games because you always we tailgate downwind of Stadium View, so you always have to hit Stadium View on your way to the game.
Take a leak on the way too. That's very important.
They got the Porta Johns always set up here. They've got the fresh cheese curds outside for the game, so it's perfect. So thank you again, Stadium View, for doing this. I know that they're running a lot of drink and dinner and food specials right now. I am hitting up dinner when I go downstairs and get my food to go. But yeah, like this again, thank you so much to Stadium View for doing this. And go and support. Do it correctly. Go and support your local bars. They're having a tough time doing all of this. Tip, for God's sakes. And also wear your bleeping masks so that we can get over this thing and actually go back to bars safely and do the things that we want to keep doing like this. So, Todd, anything that you want to promote or let people know about this week?
Yeah, just a reminder to sign up for the newsletter that's coming out. Again, check the Twitter or Facebook. We'll have the links on there for you. I'll have an article out on Friday, matchups of the week. And thank you to Matt for jumping in for Jimmy tonight. Might be a permanent job for you.
Hey, when you guys come back to Green Bay, anywhere, we can throw it. We can throw a live stream in my basement. We can find some hole in the wall bar. Let me know. I'm always down for it. But appreciate you guys having me on. Of course, check out Dan and I every other week on Pack a Day Podcast with Janelle, who's coming at Nick's neck for the stats.
Seriously,
yeah, the stats position. Check us out there. And
should be our Tony reality, dude.
She really is. Like she was on it. Also check out PackersWorldwide.com. Check out everything we got on there with Ryan Schoberg, Ryan Bowman, and Kieran Sprecher. Go Pack Go. I'll be watching the game from Punta Cana this weekend, which is
what time zone is Punta Cana in?
I honestly couldn't tell you. I have no idea. If I had to guess, I would say one to the east of the Eastern time zone.
Because it's in like the Bahamas, right?
Somewhere around there.
Somewhere
it's on the east. It's on the eastern coast of Dominican Republic. That's what I know. But I'm super jazzed.
Yeah, they're Eastern time zone.
Eastern time zone. So
nice. Welcome to my world.
I know we're going to be dialed in. So
yeah,
I'm pretty pumped for that. But other than that, yeah, keep checking out Game on Wisconsin. You guys are crushing it. Like honestly, that Jamal Williams show, especially getting picked up by NFL Network, is huge. But yeah, it was a
although
blast.
may have caused some of the issue on Sunday because those defensive players looked like they were out on mission to prove him wrong. Unfortunately, maybe I'm reading too much into that.
You might be.
But
you might be.
I'm on Twitter at DK All the Way. You can find me there. And then obviously all of our stuff with Game On Wisconsin, the show here every week. Matt and I, which Mackie, do our Pack a Day podcast every other Tuesday, and our episode came out yesterday as we broke down that game against Tampa Bay. And then also I have Florio Fridays,
which are must-see TV.
I know you are a huge fan of Florio Friday.
They're my favorite. Honestly, I'm not kidding. Like, I'm not trying to it's so damn funny. Like, and I've been meaning to ask you, what type of tobacco do you smoke in your pipe? Is it just fake?
It's Skull or
Yeah. So it's real.
Of course it's totally real.
Okay.
Yeah, totally. 1,000% real. And those glasses too, totally real as well. But Florio Fridays, and then I have an article that comes out every single Sunday. The Super Scientific accredited picks each week. They suck. They're terrible. Last week we did food that each city was iconic for. This week we are doing Halloween candy, just in time. So make sure you check that out.
Check your record is on that. Your winning percentage.
I do. Now off the top of my head, I know that it is like maybe 3 games below 500. I think I took a bath this week though, which might kind of trash that a little bit more.
Happens.
But I mean, if you're doing this randomly, that's pretty damn good, right?
But it's scientific.
Super scientific and accredited. But for my guys here, Matt Froehlich, thank you again for joining us. Such a pleasure to meet you for the first time in person and do this with you. For Todd, driving up here with Grandma in your RV, doing this with us. Nick, producer, taking care of things behind the scenes. And again, to Stadium View for letting us do this live. It was awesome. Guys, until next week, cheers.